I'm Not the Only Me. Written by Anonymous. I never really liked my sister. I mean, of course I love her, but we've never quite gotten along. It's more than just that sister rivalry thing. Even as I stand here now, on her front lawn, I guess I'm where I've always been with Madeline. Torn. Caught between two very different girls. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It all had to start somewhere. Childhood, I suppose. Even then, we were completely different people. Our personalities clashing, hard sometimes. She was already 8 when I was born. All of a sudden, someone else to share your parents with, unwelcome and hogging all of the spotlight. And to Madeline, someone who was not about to tag along and get in the way of her plans. Everything was always plans with her, and I was never a part of them. Madeline was that overachieving kid at school that you hated. Before that, she was that catty 4th grader who gossiped behind your back. And growing up, I was one of those bookish types, quiet and small. And then, I'd come home from school only to find Maddie, my own personal bully, waiting for me. That's when I started to play that weird little game. She'd lock me in the closet, and as I sat there in the dark, I know, it sounds dumb, but I was so young then. I would close my eyes, and I would wish I had a twin. Maybe it'd even the odds. 2 younger, quieter girls against the one bossy older sister. Or maybe I just wanted somebody else to play with, someone I could share my things with. Whatever the reason, I had a little mantra. I would say, I wish I had my twin, I wish she was here. But no matter how hard I tried to activate some imaginary power, the twin never appeared. And so we grew up. Once college time came for Madeline, we mostly went our separate ways, and boy, did she climb that social ladder like her life depended on it. Graduated with honors, married the boy next door, had a baby, and now she's got her own office assisting in a law firm while, you guessed it, she's studying for the bar exam. And me? I'm not aiming nearly so high. Dad teaches in high school, and I guess I took after him, because I'm an English major and I could see myself teaching one day. But maybe to younger kids. I love kids, especially my niece. The only thing that keeps Maddie and I less distance these days. I stay close to her daughter, Ella, because I worry she's not getting enough of what she needs at home. She's a shy kid, like me, only 6, and her mom already pushes her around when she's not ignoring her completely. I don't want to see her go through what I did with Madeline. And so I try to make it over there when I can, to give her somebody she can play with or talk to. Maybe that's why I'm in this whole mess now. My concern for little Ella. It was only this morning I rolled out of bed, ready for another usual day in life as a college junior. It's turned out to be anything but that. Usually it was a morning chat and some Starbucks with my roommate, a theater girl and yin to my yang, named Ashley. Then lit class, lunch to finish any homework, then one of those crappy chem courses I just take for the credits. When school's done, I go back to our campus apartment and veg out for a couple hours, then work nights at Denny's. Sure, it's not as glamorous as what Madeline has, but I can't help smiling to myself when I think about the cute busboy at work, while she's stuck with some Home Depot manager named Eddie who can't even grow a beard. So I'm gonna chalk that up as a win for old Becky. I awoke looking a little bit pale, hoping it wasn't the flu, but already late to meet Ashley for coffee, and rushed down the path. But when I got there, my smile met with a confused look from Ash. I was actually just about to leave, she told me, latte in hand. I didn't think we were meeting today. I mean, I was coming over, but then I saw you. This took me back, but she continued with her eyes narrowing and probing. Weren't you just in the dining hall? I felt a little queasy now. Ashley had known me for years. She knows what I look like. Wait, you saw someone you maybe thought was me? I asked. Ash, I wasn't at the dining hall. I just came from our place. Thought I'd be late because I'm just a little sick today. But I wasn't there. Maybe somebody really looks like me. Ashley's eyes changed from questioning to wide. I knew she wouldn't fake me out like this. No, No, Becky, it was you. Is this like a joke? Surely there'd been a mistake. At the dining hall, what was I doing there? Just, sitting and eating. She looked down at her coffee. Maybe you should go see for yourself. For reference, I've got long dark hair, just like a bunch of other girls, and I'm 20, like half the kids on campus. So I rationalized and put on a goofy face, waving my fingers to mock horror. Ooh, a secret clone. Maybe I should go meet this mysterious Becky number 2, huh? But Ash was serious. You're probably right, she nodded, touching my arm with a smile before she started to the door, off to her class. Don't worry. Millions of people in the world, right? You know what they say. Everybody's got a twin. A chill ran through me. But I said a quick goodbye and then decided I needed to know. The next building over held the dining hall, and I rushed across the grass to see this mystery girl. Suddenly feeling a little nervous, like a little kid, I made my way through the Bishop Hall as I got to the cafeteria stairs and found myself weak, and not just from running. I was all at once so tired, like I hadn't slept in days. But my determination was strong, and as I slowly pulled up one leg in front of the other, sweating and gasping as I climbed, I wondered what the hell was wrong with me. I barely made it to the top, barely in time to see her, and froze. There was a girl that looked exactly like me, in a purple tank top and jeans, placing her tray by the kitchen and walking away towards the quad. The sweat on my skin went cold. She was identical. The hair, the face, everything. My mind raced, but I simply couldn't find any good explanation, and I went lightheaded. It was all too much. With the girl gone, whoever she was, I trudged all the way back to our apartment and ran into the bathroom to puke. When I was washing up, I caught my reflection in the mirror. My face was gray and sallow, bags under my eyes, hair a dull mess. I groaned from exhaustion and climbed back into bed, figuring, fuck the class. I could afford to miss one lit session, but not science. So I set my phone for an hour-long nap and took an aspirin for that gnawing pain settling behind my eyes. And with that, I passed out in the soft embrace of my pillow. When the alarm jerked me awake, I looked even worse. Head now throbbing. I changed into a long-sleeve shirt, shivering, thinking I'd need to see a doctor, but after class. My hands shook as I slung the bag over one shoulder and headed to the building. I shuddered in the wind, even though it was just a light California breeze. That girl, I couldn't stop picturing it, but I tried to focus. With some difficulty, I made it up some short steps and opened the class only to find my professor, Miss Broche, who looked befuddled. Becky, were you not just wearing a different outfit? My heart skipped a beat. No, this was all wrong. I think you have me mixed up with a different student. My hands searched through my bag for the paper due that day. My mind boggled as dizzying spots danced before my eyes. Here's my essay, Miss Broche. The old woman gave me a concerned smile and rested her hand on my arm, the skin clammy. Honey, you already handed your paper in. You just did. Do you want to sit down? I slowly withdrew my hands from my bag, eyes darting around the room. Funny stares from my classmates. I did? Was I, just in here? My lab partner piped up with an uncertain tone. Becky, I just saw you give her the paper. Are you all right? I felt faint, dripping with sweat, but quietly choked out. I'm fine. No one looked like they bought it, and I tried to smile and glance at the clock. Technically, class didn't start for another 2 minutes. I'm just gonna go get some air, okay? The teacher nodded, finally taking her hand off mine. That sounds good, Becky. We won't be getting underway just yet. Panic gripped my head like a vice as I stumbled out into the hallway. and I saw a guy I knew, another English major, Dean. My heart sank with the weight of his words. "Weren't you just here?" Dean gestured. "Going the other way?" I weakly assured him. Must have been someone else." He walked off as I slowly followed down the hall he'd indicated, feeling worse with every step. By the time I made it to the girls' bathroom, I could barely summon the strength to open the door. But in I went, and as it began to shut behind me, there she was. The twin I always wanted. The girl from the dining hall. Just standing there, washing her hands, and as she turned, she wasn't even surprised to see me. "Becky, what's wrong?" she asked, in a voice of genuine worry. She looked like she actually cared about how ill I was, as I slumped against the bathroom wall, the tile cool against my hot skin. As my head spun, I watched my book bag slide down behind me, limp on the floor, as I turned to see her approaching. "Who the hell are you?" I said hoarsely. On her way over from the sink, she faltered, leaving the water running as she gradually came towards me. I scrambled against the wall to get away. "Don't you know me?" I'm your sister." She doubled over with a look of pain, clutching her stomach and wailing. My twin still tried haltingly to walk to me, and I was helpless to do anything but wave my hands in front of me as defense, push myself towards the stalls and shuffling my shoes. "I'm not your twin," I told her between breaths. I don't have a twin, and I don't know who you are." My head was splitting, and my stomach felt ready for another round of vomit. The girl was hurt and confused. "But I'm supposed to be here. This is our school. Becky, do you not remember?" The sink was overflowing behind her, the water slowly pooling as she continued to grab at her belly, taking an uneasy step. "This is our life. I don't understand." She winced, her face going white. "Becky, what's wrong?" "You're what's wrong." I lay half propped up against the wall, the rest of me sprawled on the tile, my whole body reeling. My twin just gave me a small, sad shake of her head. I don't know why we're both so sick," she told me, struggling on her feet. I've been like this all day." I could tell she was really hurting. So have I told her. This was crazy. I refused to believe I was in the girls' bathroom talking to a twin I never fucking had. No, this was something else, I reasoned to myself. I just had a fever. A really high one. Just a fever. I reached, trembling, for the door and trying to call for help, but it was so hard, and I was so very, very tired. My arm fell dead to the floor as I drifted in and out of consciousness on the tiles, and all I could hear was the sound of my twin crying in pain, now on her knees but still crawling to me, shaking violently. I tried to stay awake, tried to hold on to the feeling of the cool water that slowly spread underneath my legs. Out of the corner of my eye, I watched her, her skin now ashen and nose bleeding from both nostrils, croaking. "Bex, please." Mysterious agony took a hold of me. I used all the strength I had left to reach for her arm, but she twisted and pulled away, trying to get to her feet. She slipped into the puddle of still running tap water, and all at once I saw her fall on her back, bashing her head down onto the sink and tumbling limp onto the ground, neck cocked at an odd angle. Oh God, was she? Just as quickly, the harsh grip of pain suddenly released my body. Skin now flushing and new. I sat up and looked over, her brown eyes locked, open, lifeless. A terrible sorrow flooded into me, and I locked the bathroom door from the inside and carefully made my way over to the body, shutting the damn sink off for good. With the newfound energy, I kneeled down and cradled my twin as her black soaking hair fell loosely around me and the blood flowed freely from a gash from her head. To my surprise, tears began streaming down my cheeks, and I quietly said to her, "Maybe you were my twin, and I asked for you, and you actually came. Maybe I was responsible for this. Maybe neither of us had to die, no matter how sick we became. Maybe this girl had a life of her own this entire time, living it out with no idea that I was living mine without her." Gently closing those staring dead eyes, I had no idea what to do and considered calling for help. "I'm so sorry," I told her. I grabbed a wad of paper towels and wiped away the bloody water. I couldn't just leave her like this. My health rushing back to me, I finished with the towel, patting away the last traces of blood before I carefully went to clean off the wound on her head. Gingerly, I propped her up between the back wall and handicapped toilet railing of the last stall, biting my lips, and my mind raced when I realized what the world would see. They would think it was me dead in there. I tucked my arm beneath her knees and tried to pull up her legs onto the rims of the toilet so no one would see her, shutting her inside, wondering who to call first. The police? My mom? God, as if anyone would ever begin to believe it was me. As if to reply, the sound of my phone ringing made me jump, still in my bag across the room. I hurried over to see it was Madeline, and I answered.
"Rebecca, oh God, oh my God, thank God you picked up."
Just as it did before, my heart began beating hard against my chest. I'd never heard my sister speak in such a way. She sounded disturbed, frightened, practically unhinged. She kept going a mile a minute.
"I don't know what to do. Fuck, I don't know what to do. You have to come over, or someone has to come over and get me. Oh, Jesus.
Maddie, where are you?"
"I'm at the office."
Her voice was ragged and muffled, like she was hiding.
Something terrible, something fucking impossible is going on.
At this, I felt uneasy, as she explained.
I was here, working, and then on my lunch break, I called my landline at home, like I always do, to check on my messages. And Rebecca, I called the phone and no one was home, and someone picked up. I picked up.
I scrambled to find my words. What do you mean?
I mean, it was me. It was fucking me, myself, picking up the goddamn phone. I'm terrified, Becca. I'm retching over the sink for half an hour, and then I think I'm sick. Maybe, like, hospital sick.
That was it. I shook all over, holding the phone to my ear so hard I think I might snap, and I whispered back to her. "I think I know what's going on, Maddie."
"How could you have any idea what's happening?"
That was Madeline, dismissive, even in the face of sheer, unadulterated madness. I grabbed my bag with one last apologetic look. I unlocked the door and fled the building.
"All I know is there's some stranger in my house right now, and all I know is I need your help. Becca, please."
I bounded across the grass towards the parking lot.
"I need you to come pick me up. I'm too dizzy to drive."
"All right, I told you I think I know what's up. I'm coming, okay?" She practically shrieked at me.
"Look, right now I need your car and your assistance, not your theories, Rebecca. Just please hurry."
I felt a little indignant, but she was my sister. And if a twin had suddenly popped up in my life, I was already starting the car. "I'm on the way," I tried to assure her. "Just stay where you are, all right?" Madeline laughed until broken by a chesty cough.
"I couldn't even go anywhere if I wanted to. Just drive fast."
With her office the next town over, I kept her on the line as I drove, and she only got sicker.
I'm not going to be able to get my work done.
Don't worry about that, Maddie. Something really terrible happened. I pushed back the threat of more tears and took a sharp corner in her direction. My sister sounded confused, like she was speaking through a fog.
"What?"
I saw my own twin. The light was yellow, but I went right through it and kept my foot down hard on the gas. Listen, I'm not joking with you. I had this stupid game as a little kid, and, I wanted my own twin, all right? There was nothing but the sound of her breathing, and I feared for her, trying to evoke a response. So today, I see this other girl, this, twin of mine, and seeing her made me really sick too.
You were sick?
Thank God, she was still conscious. Yeah, but the twin, I fell silent for a minute. She's gone now, and I feel like myself again. Maybe she'd been there all along. Maybe if I'd just kept her distance, but I didn't tell Maddie that. I didn't know what else to tell her, only that I was coming. As I closed in on her office, she said,
Then maybe I really have a twin at my house. Oh God. She could be stealing my clothes and touching all my things. God only knows what else.
I'm pulling in, I shouted, frantically, leaving the car running in a nearby spot. As I was about to hang up with her, jogging towards the door, I told her, I'm on my way in. And that's when she suddenly interjected.
Oh my God. Rebecca, I think you're actually right. Oh my God.
Then I heard a thud, as if she had dropped to the floor, and I called, Maddie? Maddie! Before finally hanging up, I was already inside. I rushed through the busy office, ignoring everyone that tried to greet me, telling them, Sorry, I have to see my sister. She isn't feeling well. I found Madeline, lying partly beneath her desk, the phone off the hook next to her pale, cold hands, as she looked at me in fear. It's okay. I pulled her up to lean against me, and we started to make our way out as quickly as she could go. A woman poked her head out of the cubicle. Not quite yourself, huh, Mads? But we kept going, and once in the car, I laid her down in the back seat. My sister moaned with confusion. Sweat poured from her in a fever, her freckled face suddenly so white and thin. Thanks, she told me as I buckled myself in and set a course for her house, not far off. Madeline, stay awake. Tell me what you meant when you said I was right. I drove nervously, looking around for nothing in particular, as if this other sister was just suddenly going to pop up. From behind me, Maddie laughed. Ironic, really, she said, disoriented. When I was a girl, I wished too. I wished I could be in two places at once. 2 coughs escaped her. You know, like one me could be at school and the other one could be at home. One working and one with Ella. Like when she was a baby. God, she was so much work. She was now coughing profusely, bordering on delirious. Hang on, I told her firmly. We'll be there in just a couple minutes, okay? Even as I sped through the suburban streets, she groaned. She continued to babble on. Maybe I brought this twin on too, huh? Another laugh mixed with coughs. Stretching myself so thin, I needed another pair of hands to take care of it all. It was the next street over, and now, behind me, her voice said darkly, Ella will be getting home from school. Maddie, we're here. My voice faded as I pulled up to the curb of the house next door to hers and opened the backseat door to find her coughing up bits of blood and phlegm, growing weaker by the minute. I took her hand and implored, Hang on. I tried to form something of a plan, looking over at the grass of her house, what I would do face to face with this Madeline twin. But my sister cut through my thoughts. You're twin person, she said. What happened? How did you get better? I hesitated. I regret it so much, Maddie, but she died. It was an accident, I swear, and suddenly we both heard it. The lurching of a school bus coming to a stop just ahead of us. Ella was now getting off the steps and spotted me, waving. Oh God, just hang on. I jumped over a bike in the neighbor's yard and ran, the little girl already starting up the concrete steps. To my horror, I screamed at her. That's not your mother! I waved my arms in panic, and Ella turned with a perplexed look as I stopped dead in my tracks at the sight of Madeline twin. The front door swung fully open, And there she stood, with a huge smile on her face, her brown hair pulled into a messy bun, wearing denim slacks caked in flour. A plate of chocolate chip cookies cooled on the table beside her as the woman bent down to embrace the still confused Ella in a big, loving hug. She leaned in tight and looked over the little girl's shoulder at me with a warm, knowing smile. I was shocked into silence, watching, motionless, as she pulled back, kneeling at Ella's level. "Why did Auntie Becca say that?" she asked her mother, and Madeline Twin simply shrugged it off. "Nah, we're just playing silly games." She crinkled her nose at the girl to put her at ease. "Isn't that right, Aunt Becky?" She stood with a wave and said, "Why don't you come on in? Maybe you should let your friend in the car have a rest. She is very tired." I snapped my head back to see the real Madeline, her face half sticking out from the back seat and wheezing, looking as taken aback as I was, in a wobbly voice. "Get the bitch. Get her!" Madeline Twin was kissing and dotting on Ella, telling her to be careful. The cookies were still hot. "Is it your birthday? We don't ever make stuff together," the little girl giggled. This woman, this mom who wasn't, just laughed. "Every day is a good day for baking with my special girl. And Mommy got off early today." "Really?" Emma beamed. "Yep, tummy ache, so no cookies for me. Closed up early." I struggled to find my voice, and I came up empty, turning to watch as my actual sister languished in my car, impatiently waving her hand at me. "Kill her! She's with Ella! Jesus, Rebecca, do something!" Meanwhile, her twin took the girl gently by the hand. I glanced back and forth between them in uncertainty. One sister, wasting away, still shouting orders at me. The other, now moving into the hall, chatting with Ella behind an open door with a motherly hand on her shoulder. And so here I am, stuck. It's like I said, I never really liked my sister.